Every night, the basement door opened by itself. The first time it happened, you told yourself it was the wind. You were half asleep on the couch, TV casting pale blue light across the living room ceiling, when you heard it. A soft click, then the slow, deliberate groan of old hinges. You sat up. The basement door was open, 3 inches, maybe 4. You stared at it for a long moment. Then you got up, crossed the room, and pushed it shut. The latch caught. You went to bed. You didn't think about it again. You'd moved into the house 6 weeks earlier, a rental, old construction, 1940s, the landlord had said, with the kind of pride that suggested he'd never actually lived there. The ceilings were low. The radiators knocked and hissed through the night. The floorboards in the hallway had a particular sequence of creaks you'd already memorized without trying. The basement door was at the end of the kitchen. Dark wood, brass handle, a simple push-button lock on your side, the kind you could open with a penny if you lost the key. The landlord had mentioned it once in passing. The lock sticks sometimes, just push firm. That was all he said about it. You should have asked more questions. The second night, you were awake when it happened. 2:48 a.m. You know, because you checked your phone when you heard the click. You lay in bed and listened. The familiar groan of the hinges. Slower this time, more deliberate. As if whatever was opening it didn't want to make noise, but couldn't quite manage silence. You told yourself, old house, settling, air pressure, temperature changes between floors. You told yourself a lot of things in those first 2 weeks. You did not go downstairs. In the morning the door was open 4 inches, maybe 5. You pushed it shut. Checked the lock. It held fine. By the end of the first week you had a system. You wedged a chair under the handle before bed. The third night, you woke at 2:48 again. You'd started waking up at that time automatically, your body somehow knowing. And the house was silent. No click. No hinges. You exhaled. You almost smiled. Then you heard the scraping. Slow. Rhythmic. Coming from the other side of the door, like something dragging its fingers across the wood from below. Up. Then down. Up. Then down. You didn't move. You didn't breathe. You lay in the dark with your eyes on the ceiling and counted until it stopped. It stopped at 3:07. You didn't sleep again that night. You told your friend Maya about it over the phone the next day. She laughed, not unkindly. It's an old house, she said. Pipes, mice, you're scaring yourself. Mice don't open doors, you said. A pause. No, she agreed, they don't. You asked the landlord about the basement, what was down there, whether anyone had used it recently. He was quiet for a moment longer than felt normal. Storage, he said. Nothing down there. Previous tenant left some boxes. I kept meaning to clear them out. Who was the previous tenant? You asked. Another pause. Young woman. She moved out suddenly. Left most of her things. You waited for more. He didn't offer it. You told yourself you were going to look. You told yourself that for 4 days. On the 5th day, you finally opened the door in the middle of the afternoon. Sunlight coming through the kitchen window, coffee in your hand, trying to make it feel ordinary. The stairs were narrow, wooden. They went down into darkness. You found the light switch. A single bare bulb flickered on. The basement was low-ceilinged. concrete floor, stone walls. It smelled like damp and something else, something older. Mineral, almost metallic. There were boxes along the far wall, old cardboard. Some had names written on them in black marker, kitchen, books, winter, in handwriting that was careful and small. The previous tenant's things. And then you noticed the door. Not the one you'd come through. Another one. In the far corner of the basement, almost hidden behind a collapsed shelving unit. Smaller than a standard door, older. The wood was dark and swollen, no handle, no visible hinges on this side. There was a padlock on it, heavy, old, rusted, but still locked. You stood there for a long time, staring at it. Then you went back upstairs. You didn't mention the second door to the landlord. That night, you moved the chair back under the handle. 2:48 a.m. Click! The chair scraped across the floor like it was made of paper. The hinges groaned. You sat up in bed and turned on your phone flashlight and pointed it down the hallway. The basement door was open, not 3 inches, not 4, all the way. Standing in the kitchen doorway, at the top of the basement stairs, was a shape. It was too tall for the frame. It was bent slightly at the shoulders, the way something bends when it isn't used to the ceiling being in the way. Its arms were long. Its face, if it had a face, was in shadow. It was still. You were still. For 3 seconds, maybe 4, nothing moved. Then it stepped back, slowly, into the darkness of the stairwell. Down. 1 step, 2 steps. You heard it descend. You heard the second door, the small one, the locked one, open with a sound like a slow exhale. Then silence. You did not move until morning. You called Maya at 7 a.m. You told her everything. This time she didn't laugh. She came over that afternoon. She walked through the house. She stood at the top of the basement stairs with you and looked down. "I'll go with you," she said. The light was still working. The boxes were still there. The shelving unit was still collapsed. The second door was open. The padlock was on the floor, not broken, unlocked, set down deliberately. Beyond the door was a tunnel, narrow, dirt walls, low ceiling. It went back far enough that the flashlight couldn't find the end. Maya grabbed your arm. "We need to leave," she said, "right now." You agreed. You called the landlord from the car. You told him about the second door, the tunnel. The silence on his end was long enough that you pulled the phone away to check if the call had dropped. "You weren't supposed to go down there," he said finally. "What's in the tunnel?" you asked. Another pause. "I don't know," he said. "The people who built the house, I don't know what they were doing. I told myself it was old construction, a root cellar, something normal." "The previous tenant," you said. "Why did she leave?" He didn't answer. "Is she the one who put the padlock on?" He didn't answer that either. "She left a note," he said quietly, "when she moved out. I didn't take it seriously." "What did it say?" A long breath. "It said, 'Don't let it learn your schedule.'" You didn't go back. You stayed at Maya's for 3 weeks. You had someone else collect your things. You broke the lease. You didn't fight the penalty. You put it behind you. Or tried to. That was 7 months ago. You're in a new apartment now. 3rd floor. Modern building. No basement. You've been sleeping fine until last week. 2:48 a.m. You woke up, just like before, body pulling out of sleep for no reason. The apartment was silent. You lay there, waiting. And then, from somewhere below you, from beneath the floor. You heard the scraping, up then down, slow, rhythmic, patient. Like something that had simply followed you, figured out your schedule, and was waiting for you to open a door. It was always 2:48 when you woke up. That's how long it took to climb to the top of the stairs. It was always 3:07 when the scraping stopped. That's when it realized, that night, you weren't going to come down. It's been learning. Every night for 7 months in every place you've slept. It just took this long to catch up.